Today on the Follow Bridgeton Podcast, where we highlight the people and organizations that make Bridgeton, New Jersey. I talk with Newlin Williams. While he wears many hats, he's a Freemason who was a former master of Bridgeton's Old Brearly Lodge. We talk about the history of the lodge and the Masons and how he believes that some perspectives could be misinformed. Hello and welcome to the Follow Bridgeton Podcast. My name is Gavin Schweiger. I'm assistant editor of Follow South Jersey, and today I have with me Newlin Williams, who is the past master of the Brearly Lodge No. 2 Masonic Lodge and caretaker of the Old Brearly Lodge building. How are you doing today?
Quite well, sir.
All right. It's good to have you. I feel like there's a lot of stuff around Freemasonry and lodges. There's a lot of ideas and perceptions, so I'm hoping to get like a better understanding of how it is, and also,
Hopefully.
So much history in this city specifically.
Yes.
So I guess the first kind of overall thing is for the people who might not be familiar. Can you give me a little bit of an overview of who the Masons are, what Freemasonry is?
Freemasonry is a fraternity for men. Our main goal is making good men better and improving society as a whole. We donate to many charitable organizations and functions. A lot of people don't know that they've heard of the Shriners, but they don't know that to be a Shriner, you have to be a Mason first. Mm-hmm. So we're out there in support of society. Absolutely.
So how did you get involved with Masonry?
It was a family connection. My father was a Mason. I have a great uncle that was a member of Brearly Lodge. It goes back, quite a ways.
Yeah, and is it, I guess, kind of like a lineage thing? Normal, like, is it usually kind of passed down through the generations?
To some of us, it is, but there's still quite a few people that join they become interested in with all of the stuff that's on the History Channel and whatnot. I want to find out more about it, and when they do, they decide they want to become part of it. So that's how we get a good percentage of our personnel.
Gotcha. Yeah, tell me a little bit about some of the perceptions of Freemasons, because it's kind of all over the board, depending on where you're getting your information from.
We've been labeled as a secret society. We are not. We are a society with secrets that have been handed down over the centuries, and for good reason. The original stone guilds and Masons of the cathedral building days are the basic building blocks for this organization. Now, in order to travel and receive wages as such, they had to know what was the password, what was the grip, because otherwise Joe Schmo can walk up and go, "I'm a Mason, hire me." Mm-hmm. No, that's how it all started. And it's nothing devious or sinister about it, but that's the basis of it. Most people are unaware that if they own a Bible, they own 99% of our ritual. We're founded upon the belief that you have to believe in a supreme being. Now, whether you call him God or whatever, we don't care. Just that you got to admit that there's something bigger than us out there.
Right. It's not a religious organization in the sense that it's for one religion. It's just
Exactly.
you have to be, you have to believe in a supreme being,
Yes.
No matter what that might be.
Yes.
And you also have to be a man.
Yes.
Yeah, I guess, has there been any discourse around the idea of accepting women or other genders?
There are female lodges in England and France. There are currently none in the United States. We have a separate organization for the ladies, the Eastern Star, and that breaks down even further with we have a male youth organization, the D Malay, and then on the female side we have Rainbow Girls. So it's to instill these things in you at an early age, and then grow them to fruition in your older age.
Mm-hmm. So can you tell me a little bit about how it all kind of works together? Because there's the lodge, and then there's kind of the other, I guess, programs or organizations that you were just talking about. How does it all? I guess if somebody was interested in getting involved and understanding more about, let's say, Old Brearly Lodge, just to be very, just to be specific. What does that look like in joining, climbing up the ranks?
Submit a petition. It has to be signed by 2 current members in good standing, and then it's balloted upon. In that, the way it's done today is you submit the petition with the initiation fee. We then take that petition, send it to Grand Lodge up in Burlington, who does a background check to make sure you're not wanted on whatever. And then when it comes back clear, we send an investigation committee, usually 3 men from the lodge, to go out and meet with you and your family and explain to them that by your joining, you are going to be required to do some study, and it's going to take some time, and that they need to be aware of that. And if they have any objections to it, this is the time for them to voice those objections.
Mm-hmm. What's the kind of studying that goes into?
Well, there's the ritual that everybody goes through. So you have to do memorization work so that when you are asked the questions during your examination, you can give the proper responses. And there are 3 degrees that is required for the first, the second, and the third degree.
Mm-hmm. Tell me about those different degrees. Is that like a different rank, or how does this work? Sort
of. It's just a growing process to make you a Master Mason.
Okay.
First you're an entered apprentice, then you're a fellow craft, and then you become a Master Mason.
Are there different, I guess, roles and responsibilities that come through with each?
There are. They're actually rather trivial, but it's just a way of denoting where you are on the education process.
Gotcha. So let's talk a little bit about the actual Old Brearly Lodge itself, and also the Brearly Lodge number 2.
Okay.
So has a really long history. It's the oldest continually operating lodge in the state, correct?
It is.
So can you tell me a little bit about what you know about that history, kind of how this got started?
Basically, after the Revolutionary War, there were a large group of men who had become Masons while they had been serving in the Continental Army. At the time, there was a lodge in Philadelphia, another one over in Baltimore, and it was like, we need to form one here because I'm not doing all that traveling. So they submitted the paperwork to form Brearly Lodge, and in 1790, they were given a charter, a warrant, by the then ad hoc Grand Lodge, because there really wasn't one at that time, to form Brearly Lodge number 2. For the next 7 years, they met upstairs at Potter's Tavern. They met in the courthouse until they accumulated enough money to build Brearly Lodge where it sits today. 1797, they build Brearly Lodge on Bank Street. The lodge room is on the 2nd story. The first floor is the first school in the city of Bridgeton. What can I say? From there, things remained pretty much the same until like 1825. When the Morgan affair happened, and we really don't have time to go into what transpired there. But at that point, Masonry was given a very evil outlook and tilt because of what transpired in upstate New York. And a lot of lodges went out of business, a lot of lodges went dark and just didn't meet. But through it all, Brearly Lodge continued to meet. In 1742, the Grand Lodge, 1740, the Grand Lodge of New Jersey was reorganized. New lodges were instituted. Those lodges that were still in existence were renumbered. At the time, originally, Brearly Lodge was number 9. Mm-hmm. When we were renumbered under that system, we were renumbered number 2. Politics being what they are, number 1 went to St. John's up north. There was a rather strong movement. There's a lot of numerology involved in Masonry. Mm-hmm. And there was a movement within Brearly Lodge that they didn't want to change the number because number 9 is a powerful number. It didn't wash. Grand Lodge didn't want to hear it. So we turned in our warrant, and we are the only Masonic lodge in the state of New Jersey that has its original lodge or warrant. What they did was they took our original warrant, and on the back of it, they wrote out the renumbering process, sealed it, and sent it back to us.
Gotcha. Seems like there was a lot of upheaval kind of in that time, starting in when you said like the 1830s with this Morgan affair. So I know you probably can't get into the whole specifics of it, but kind of when it comes to maybe this area or New Jersey Masonic lodges, like how did this, I guess, political Mason upheaval of, these different lodges and a lot of these going dark, how did that kind of affect what the lodges look like today, if it did?
It's hard to say. I think we would probably be a stronger organization if it had not been for the Morgan affair.
Why do you think that?
It just cast a shadow upon Masonry that didn't need to be there, and it gave the conspiracy theorists an axe to grind. Oh, you're evil. No, we're not. Yeah, all of that. So during that period of time, there was a complete anti-Masonic movement. Mm-hmm. Little did they know that in the process of their anti-Masonic movement, they elected Andrew Jackson, who was a Mason. Literally, so.
Was that something that people knew back in the day? Okay,
So he didn't hide it, but it wasn't advertised either.
Gotcha. So, I guess for the sake of understanding, maybe not the whole story, but are there broad strokes of the Morgan affair that we can use to kind of understand?
The shortest way I know to tell this story is Morgan appeared up north, said he had been initiated, raised, and all his paperwork was good, but he had nothing to prove it. When they found out he was bogus, he announced he was going to print everything. Print the ritual, everything that he could, and expose the Masonry for what it was. At some point along the line, he got locked up. Seems the sheriff was a Mason. That's where it gets really blurry, because he disappeared from there. And nobody's really sure exactly what happened to him. There were rumors that they took him out and killed him. There were rumors that they took him to the Canadian border and said, "Don't ever let us see your face again." And that he went up into the hinterland and was never seen. There were rumors that he jumped aboard a freighter and was down in the Bahamas somewhere. But nobody knows exactly what happened. But because there is no definitive truth, they can say whatever they want.
Right.
Especially back then, because everything was rumor. Even though there were newspapers, there weren't a lot of them, and there weren't a lot of people that were reading them.
Right. And how much telephone do you have to go through before it actually gets printed?
Exactly.
So what were the kinds of things that Morgan was saying about?
Oh, it was just that he was going to take all of the secrets and print them.
Did he print them?
He didn't have to. They were already in print.
Okay. Yeah. So it seemed like most of the issues that came from this was like the disappearance. Is that correct?
Yes, that's the whole premise behind Morgan. Mm-hmm. He disappeared, so you guys killed him. You can't prove that. Don't say it.
Yeah, that's a really strong accusation, and I guess when it comes to some of maybe even the modern perception of Masonry, I guess it kind of goes back to that, where people might think it's a secret society, but you said it's a society with secrets, and it's mostly about just I guess trust and identification. Is that kind of where the secrets lie?
Pretty much. The secrets are just basically identification so that you can verify who you are. It's that plain and that simple. That's where it all goes back to. In your first degree as an entered apprentice, at each step you take an oath. And during the first oath that you take, you promise and vow that you will not print, paint, stamp, stain, cut, carve, write, or engrave anything whereby the secrets of Freemasonry may be unlawfully obtained through my negligence.
Mm-hmm. So, it's not so much that it's a secret society and there's no, hopefully there's no, I'm sure there's people that have wrong intentions, but as a whole, seems benign. It seems like a fraternal organization that's
it. Yes, absolutely. The Kiwanis, JCs, the Moose, the Eagles, everybody has those minor secrets that separates us from everybody else. Everybody does. It doesn't mean we're all out to take over the world. It just doesn't.
Yeah. Have you personally kind of come across these, I guess, conspiracies or perceptions in your time as a Mason?
Perceptions, yeah. The actual conspiracies, no. Probably the biggest thing was the fact that we do have the organization of the Knights Templar as part of the York Rite. And that leads you into somewhat of a rabbit hole where you get made aware of all of the things that the Catholic Church has said about Masonry and about the Knights Templar, and they can't have if you're a practicing Catholic, you can't be a Mason. That has been said in the past. I don't think the present Pope thinks that way. I really don't. But in the past. Papal bulls and all of that, it's nothing to be concerned with at this point in time.
Yeah, I was curious about the Knights Templar because in the actual lodge room you have some of the armor and some of the imagery. Can you tell me a little bit? I know it's a rabbit hole. Like all of this is a lot, a lot of history, a lot of going down. But it is pretty interesting that the Knights Templar, as a Catholic force back in the Middle Ages, Crusaders. It's interesting that it's connected with Freemasonry in this way. Can you tell me a little bit about how these two worlds kind of connect?
I truly wish I could, but there is no direct connection between the Templars of medieval times and us, other than the name. And a lot of the precepts that we believe in God first. Like it says on the banner, not unto my glory, Lord, unto thine. So that's pretty much it. And you take a chivalric oath that would have probably been in place back then, to defend innocent women and children and but that's about as close as it gets.
Gotcha.
Oh, and we do get to carry a sword.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Well, that's awesome. So, even though the connection is, I guess, scant, there's still that imagery of the Knights Templar. So, can you tell me a little bit about why, you have like Knights Templar armor in the lodge, and you bear the name of the Knights Templar, or with that connection?
Okay. There are several bodies that meet in that building.
Okay.
The Blue Lodge, which is Old Brearly, number 2, is the owner of the building and the building block that everybody needs to belong to start with. Then there is Brearly Chapter of Royal Archmasons, which is the building block for the York Rite. We also have Triangle Council rather, number 10, which meets in that building, which is the next step in the York Rite. And we have Olivet Commandery, number 10, which meets in that building. And that's why it's the Knights Templar stuff is there in the lodge room. If one of the things I would like to have you recall in your memory, do you remember the ceiling in the lodge room?
Yes.
Has the big Maltese cross on the ceiling. Mm-hmm. It's the Knights Templar emblem. It is the only one in the state. We're very proud of that. When we did the ceiling restoration project, that was one of the things to make sure that it was painted correctly and done. At one point, the Knights Templar were such a large organization in this county that Olivet Commandery was headquartered in Millville. Mm-hmm. But they had basically sub-branches that met in Bridgeton and Vineland. Because there were just so many members, nobody had a building big enough for everybody.
Gotcha.
At one point, Olivet Commandery had a 125-man band. It was that big.
Wow.
Yeah, it's during the period between the wars, between the First World War and the Second World War, Masonry and the Knights Templar surged. There are pictures I have pictures of Atlantic Commandery, which was in Atlantic City at the time. And they're marching on the beach in Atlantic City. All 500 of them.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, if you go back in time and get to look at some of the pictures from the Grand Encampment, which is the governing body for the Knights Templar, the Grand Encampment of Knights Templar of North America. You'll find pictures of phenomenal parades. You know, the one that really gets to me is they show one in Philadelphia. You know, it just all you can see down the street are Knights Templar. I mean, I wish it were that way. It's not. You know, and every year there's a sunrise service on Easter by the Knights Templar in Washington. Well, technically it's Alexandria, but it's down there. So
the Knights Templar as they are today and Masons, that they're not the same organization. Or
yes and no.
Yes and no? Okay.
Yeah, in order to be a Knights Templar, you have to be a Mason.
Okay.
If I let's say I don't pay my dues in the Blue Lodge and get suspended, I'm suspended everywhere. Mm-hmm. And that's, even though there are appendant bodies, and like I said, those we've just discussed the York Rite. You still got the Scottish Rite too, but it doesn't matter, you know, whether it's the shrine or whatever. If you lose your membership in the Blue Lodge, you lose your membership in everything. Mm-hmm. It's a requirement.
Gotcha. That makes a lot more sense to me because again, there's just so many moving pieces when it comes to this.
Yeah, there are.
So I want to kind of divert, and you mentioned pretty much at the first step that charitable work is part of what you guys do. So do you think you can tell me a little bit about what kinds of work you guys have done for this specific area?
Parts in the food drive, coat drives, clothes closets, up until, and it's still, I still find it bothersome, up until COVID, every Sunday, we were at the Soldiers' Home, helping people get to church services. And then during COVID, they closed the building down, wouldn't let anybody in, and currently it's still restricted. But those are the kinds of things we've done. Last year, there was a project to work on the zoo in the park. Mm-hmm. We took part in that. As a member of Cedarville Lodge, we also sponsor Little League. At the end of the year, there are monetary awards given at the grade school level down there that we provide. There is a program that we set up with Rowan for a grant that we put the money into the account to pay for the grant, but they manage who gets it. It was like, well, you need to tell us who we're allowed to give this to, and it was like anybody you find with the grades and deserving. There are other scholarship programs where you are required to be a Mason's relative, son, grandson, whatever. But those are the kinds of things we do. I kind of think that they're important, to me anyway.
Yeah, I mean, it's charitable service. I know, especially in this area, there's a lot of different nonprofits and
yes,
charities that are doing work. One of them, our parent company, Hope Loft. So it's interesting because in kind of looking into Old Brearly, maybe I didn't look far enough, but I didn't see a lot about charitable work. So is it kind of kept, I don't want to say quiet, but
it's not kept quiet, but what we do we do it. It's not for the glory, it's not for the accolades. It's just it needs to be done. So we do it.
Yeah. You also you put on some like fundraising events not too long ago. It was like a few years ago. I remember a couple comedy shows and stuff like that. Can you tell me a little bit about that?
No, that's when you try to keep a building that's as old as that is over there, the costs can be prohibitive. And in these days when society as a whole is not joining the Masons, not going to church, staying at home, the cash flow is restricted. So you got to find other ways of making money. We did a comedy show for Brearly Lodge. Down in Cedarville, we do a breakfast twice a year. We have done spaghetti dinners over here at Brearly. We're always looking for a way to make money. You know, it's a costly endeavor to keep up a building that old.
I can only imagine.
It's through the grace of God and Hankins.
Yeah. Can you tell me, because you mentioned that there's kind of a dwindling interest in Masonry and joining Masons, and like you said as well, this also goes to churches, to
society as a whole.
Mm-hmm. Can you tell me a little bit about how that's kind of looked to you?
Disheartening that people are pulling back. However, if you take a look at the numbers over a large period of time, you'll find the sine wave. There are times when it gets better, there are times when it gets worse. And at this point, I look at it from the point of view that we have to do everything we can to keep it alive so that it's there when it swings back the other way.
Mm-hmm. One of the times it swung back up was, like you said, during the interwar period.
Yep.
Why do you think that there was such a big wave of people interested in Masonry in that period?
There was a surge of nationalism, a surge of for God and country, and when the population as a whole is thinking in that direction, your civic organizations grow. Your churches grow. Everything grows. It's just part of the program.
Yeah. Do you think also maybe it's partly because you have a lot of these young men who are going off to war, and then they form these kind of brotherhoods overseas? Is that also possible?
It is very likely that is part of it. I can only say for myself that we have a lot of people that join for that brotherhood, that close knitness that you just don't get everywhere. You can have friends at work, but it's not the same. To coin a phrase, I've been to hell and back with him, and I will be there forever for him. And that's the kind of bond I think a lot of guys are looking for. They just don't know how to look for it.
Do you still think kind of that longing for bond and brotherhood, do you think that's still there today, even though maybe the interest in civic organizations has gone down?
I think it's still there. If it ever goes away, this country's in a world of hurt because there will be no volunteer army.
Yeah.
The draft will be back.
Yeah, I guess that makes a lot of sense. You know, you have a lot of people who are interested in doing something that's bigger than themselves.
Exactly.
And, you know, for some that might be military, or for some that might be church, for some that might be Masons.
Yes, agreed. You know, it's that inner desire. We want to be better people. At the bottom line, we want to be better people.
Yeah. So I guess kind of coming back to you, I'm curious, you know, how being a Mason has affected your life and what you're taking from.
How it's affected my life? I have traveled over most of this country. I have never been anywhere where I have said that I'm a Mason that I am not accepted with open arms. The boys down in Arkansas made me tap dance a little bit before they welcomed me, but other than that, you know, Indianapolis, I have been to conventions up and down the East Coast. Like I said, everywhere. It has, and when my sons were younger, my youngest son wanted to be involved in the DMLA, the boys segment of Masonry. So I got to travel a lot with him, and some of the bonds with those guys, with those boys, which they were at the time, they're not quite boys anymore, but I still see him. Hi, Dad, how you doing? You know, it's really heartwarming to know that you've had a positive impact on somebody else. You know, that's how it's affected me. Kept me sane, more or less.
Did you have a similar experience when you were master of Old Brearly, where can you tell me a little bit about what that was like, and kind of that, because I'm assuming it's a leadership role.
Oh, it is definitely a leadership role. It's like being the captain of the ship. However it goes, you're responsible. If it goes well, you get the pat on the back. If it tanks, stand by, because somebody's coming for you. It's the same thing in that it's a different grooming process, but you're helping the guys learn their jobs within the lodge. You know, there's a ritual for opening. Everybody needs to learn that, and as you move around on the floor and you get different jobs, well, you got to have rehearsals and practices to learn those parts. And there's when it all comes together and you bring in somebody in, and your guys do a great job. Your heart swells, and you're proud of everybody in the room, you know, and you're really glad that this candidate got to see that performance.
What's been the most, actually, let me rephrase. When all's said and done, and, you know, I'm sure there might be a point where you reflect on, I guess, all your time and all your service to the many endeavors that you do. What is it that you take away from all of this?
I don't know, the satisfaction that I've done the best I can. That I have tried to impart some knowledge with society as a whole, that we can do better. I guess that would be about it now. Not that I've done that great a job, but together we can make things better. That's my thought process.
Yeah. Do you have any ideas on what? All right. I have a twofold question. Do you have any ideas on what your future is going to look like coming up? And
sliding into home plate.
And do you have any ideas on kind of where Freemasons in New Jersey are going?
Well, we have currently a youthful grandmaster, and he has plans for the state, and most worshipful Omar Morris. I see him making sure that those plans get put into place and enacted. We are currently in a partnership with the northern Masonic jurisdiction of the Scottish Rite, where they have a program that is it is shown. They have ads in newspapers, they have ads on television, and basically it's not just a man, a Mason, and then they give you a contact number or a website for you to contact, and we're working with them to try to bolster our numbers. I see the line coming up behind Omar, being like-minded. We're doing everything that we can. One of the biggest fallacies with Masonry is the people that go, I think they're all schmucks because they didn't ask me to join them. The bottom line is, we don't ask anybody to join us. That's part of the reason our membership is shrinking. We have to do a good enough job of advertising who we are and what we are that you come to me and say, tell me about it. And after I tell you about it, your next question is, how do I become a Mason? Mm-hmm. That's what we need to do. So,
doing some more work in advertising, getting the name out there, getting
yes.
the philosophy out there as well. What do you see that looking like in the near future?
I'm afraid to guess. I other than for the fact that, and I say this tongue in cheek, I watched a program on the History Channel that finally got it right. They were doing myth busting about Masonry, and Oh, well, they laid out the streets to make a star. No, we didn't. We had nothing to do with that. It wasn't us. It was a French guy that had no affiliation with Masonry whatsoever. And just, and the eye on the dollar bill, the all-seeing eye of God that watches over all of us. Those are the kind of misnomers that we need to dispel so that just perhaps the rest of the world will take a better view of us. And it's not like we're just a local organization. We are worldwide. Mm-hmm. So we do what we can. Some lodges advertise wholeheartedly, full force. New Jersey does not. Never have, never will. At least that's the line right now.
Yeah, I mean, it's such a historic organization. Who knows where things will go in the future?
That's it. And National Treasure was a crock, yes. It was a nice story. Probably the best thing that has happened to us in the last 20 years was Dan Brown, because he tied it all together.
That's the historic podcaster, right?
No, he wrote 2 books.
The writer, okay.
Yeah.
I was thinking of a different Dan, I think.
Probably. But, that created interest. Anytime that whatever we do is in the news, there's a spike in questions and inquiries for us. But we just need to do a better job of being public about what we're doing. Mm-hmm. That's all I can say. If we don't, we're going to fade into the annals of history as they used to be.
Yeah. I gotcha. So if somebody wants to know more about, New Jersey Masonry or Old Brearly specifically, where do you suggest that they go?
Area code 609-364-0455. That's my cell phone number. I'll be more than glad to give them a full tour of the building. I will be more than glad to point them in the right directions, and I will be more than glad to help them accomplish whatever they're looking to do. It's kind of like why we're there.
Yeah, well, you heard it here. You can call Newlin Williams to
that's it.
Learn more about Masonry or find your own journey.
That's it. I believe there's a spot on the Grand Lodge website where you can leave inquiries. Mm-hmm. So, if you go online, you can go to New Jersey Freemasons, and there's a location there for you to leave questions, contact information, that kind of stuff.
Sure. Well, Newlin Williams, thank you so much for being on the show.
Well, I'm glad I was here.
Glad to have you.